Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chris with WooCurve, and today we're going to be talking with Jake Andersen. And Jake is the founder of Hobo Hammocks. He runs that store at hobohammocks.com. And what's really cool about what Jake is doing, he's serving the kind of the outdoors market, selling hammocks and different accessories. And Jake has been a customer with WooCurve for several months now, and so. I wanted to invite him on and just kind of share a little bit about his company, but then also walk us through one of the funnels that he's created with One Click Upsells, and we'll talk a little bit back and forth about some of the results he's seeing. But yeah, really excited to share this interview with you today. Jake, how's it going, man?
Doing well. How are you, Chris?
I'm good, man. I really appreciate you hopping on the call here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Cool. Well, hey, tell us real quick about what you're doing at Hobo Hammocks and kind of what you guys are all about.
Yeah, sure. So about 3 years ago, I started Hobo Hammocks. Back in college, me and my buddies kind of all got into hammocking at the same time, and I had always wanted to start my own company. So, excuse me. So yeah, a few years ago, actually, a buddy and I wanted to go on a trip to Thailand between our first and second year of dental school. So to justify spending the money to go on that trip, we decided to live out of our hammocks on an abandoned softball field for a couple months to save the rent money. So we did that for a couple months, saved the money, and went to Thailand. And through that experience, a lot of things happened. And that was where I first realized that I wanted to start a hammock business. They're a thing that a lot of people were getting into, and I was excited about them. I knew it was something I was passionate about that I could have a good time with. And so living out of our hammocks was kind of the time that I realized I wanted to do that. And then at the same time, while we were living out of our hammocks, it kind of made me think more about the homeless population and what they're going through living outside. I wasn't experiencing the same thing, obviously. I was choosing to be there, and I still had my car with all my things, but it just made me think about them and what they're going through a little more. And that's kind of where I got the idea to tie Hobo Hammocks to the homeless and to give it that name. And we end up deciding for every hammock we sell, we actually donate a meal to the homeless through a local rescue mission in Salt Lake City. And then we also offer a lifetime warranty on our hammocks. And anytime somebody cashes in on that warranty, they'll send in their ripped or torn hammock. We'll send them a new hammock, and then we'll sew up and repair the old hammock, and then we'll donate that to the homeless as well.
That's really cool. And that's one of the things actually that when I first reached out to you, and this was earlier when it started as a company, and I saw the name of your company come across, and we have a couple of hammocks in our backyard. Our kids love to play in them. And anyway, so I checked out the site, and it was just super cool. So I just remember I was like, I got to email this guy, and I loved everything about your company. So and that was a while ago. So it's been cool to kind of see how, every month, and we kind of stay in touch. For those of you who don't know, Jake and I stay in touch, and his company just continues to grow. And as you were talking about how you got started, there was a question that popped up into my head of just like how did you did you have to go out and I guess find a supplier somewhere for the hammocks and like source the material? Like was that a difficult thing for you to do when you were starting Hobo?
Yeah, so when I started out, this is the first business I've ever started, and I really didn't really have any idea what I was doing. But a buddy had actually, just before we started living out of our hammocks, my buddy had been talking to me about this website he found called Alibaba.com.
Yep.
And I don't know if you guys are all familiar with Alibaba, but it's basically a contact point between anybody that's looking to start a product and manufacturing plants. So you go on this site and you look up, what kind of product you're trying to create, and then you can talk to these factories and you can make customizations, tell them, specific things you want about the design, the size, the material, colors, just anything, and you can make it your own. Branding, logos, labels, tags, all that stuff you can go through there and customize. So having found out about that site, that's where I was able to get my start in regards to creating the product, in regards to getting that going. And then as far as funding goes to get the company off the ground, I actually used Kickstarter. I put together a little video and a campaign on Kickstarter, and was fortunate that did very well for me. And I was able to raise $17,000 for the company right off the bat without any risk or money out of my own pocket.
Wow. I didn't know. I don't think I knew the Kickstarter piece. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's the way to go for sure.
That's cool. Yeah, I know Alibaba. One of the other businesses I have, we use it. It's in the survival space, and we use it for a couple of those like low ticket items to give away as lead gen and that type of thing. So I want to talk about. Have you walk us through one of the funnels that you have set up on your site? And it can be one that you've run in the past, or it could be live now. But just walk us through this funnel where you're using One Click Upsells. What's the trigger product that starts the whole thing off, and then after they buy that product, then what are they going to see, and how are you talking about it? And do you have more than one upsell in that funnel? Just kind of walk us through that if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. First off, I just want to tell you, Chris, like these upsells have been incredible for me. And first starting it off, I was a little nervous because I wasn't exactly sure how to set it up and how things work. But it was incredible to me how available you and your team were to help me get it all set up properly and get going. So I'm really appreciative of that, and that's really made a big difference for me.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So as far as the funnel goes, what I have set up right now is basically any hammock on my website is a trigger product for the same funnel. This is the funnel that's worked best for me up to this point. So any hammock that somebody buys after they go through the checkout, the first offer they're going to get is a discount on a second hammock. So my regular price for hammocks is $59. And then once you check out, the first offer is going to pop up, and it's going to offer you a hammock for $39. So a $20 discount for a second hammock. And then regardless of if you accept or reject that offer, my second offer that I have in the upsell is a hammock rain fly for those people that are going to be camping or might be out in the rain. And I offer a $10 discount off of that, which is normally $39, so you can get it for $29.
Cool. And then do you have a third upsell, or is it kind of?
So I had T-shirts going for a while, and they weren't doing much, so I got rid of that third upsell. But that was very recently, so I'll be playing with this a little more and seeing what I can do to add another upsell on there.
Gotcha. And let me ask you this, because we get this this question. Sometimes it's phrased a little differently, but at the heart of it, when people are thinking about one-click upsells, they're worried about like annoying their customers with upsells. And there's definitely a point where if you're stacking like 5 or 6 in a row, that can get annoying. But just with your two, I mean, have you had customers of yours who have contacted you who were annoyed or angry about the upsells?
Chris, I've actually had the opposite happen. I mean, people have been really excited that they can get such a good discount because, the upsell pages, I'll tell them, I'll say, you're not going to get another chance other than this screen right here, right now. And they see that and they're like, oh, this is really exclusive and it's a really good deal. If you're truly offering your customers a good deal, which it's worth it because then you're bulk packaging to ship to them anyway, they're really appreciative of that. And I haven't had any problems with people being upset or annoyed with multiple upsell pages at all. Yeah,
that's been our experience as well. That if that happens, it's not necessarily about the offer. It's usually just like a fatigue of how many times do I have to say no, or it's something else. But yeah, like you said, it's a great point. If your offer is very congruent with what they just bought, then it has the opposite effect. We teach that your customers actually thank you for giving them more ways to get the thing that they want from you. And one of the cool things, especially in e-commerce, because it's not the case in other types of businesses, but I mean, one of the best upsells to have is just more of the same product, which is what you're doing.
Right.
Where the upsell is basically another hammock, and that doesn't work in a lot of other businesses, but it works really well in e-commerce. And then the Rainfly is a perfect complement to that as well. What if you are comfortable sharing any of your numbers or data with us, and if not, just let me know. But I'm curious, like what the upsells have contributed in terms of revenue or average order value or anything like that to your business.
Yeah, sure. I mean, financially, it's been a no-brainer, good decision. When I first signed up for it, I was a little nervous, like, oh man, like $37 a month, like, is this really going to generate that much more revenue for me? But I mean, it definitely has. I was just actually just looking at my numbers a few minutes ago, and November. So it cost me $37 for the upsells, and then I got about $800 extra in revenues directly caused by the upsells.
Wow, that's awesome.
So
That's
huge
yeah,
return.
yeah, huge return. That's what we love hearing. That that just pumps me up. And anytime we get questions or comments in from folks about the price or the monthly or the annual, I go back to conversations like the one we're having, where I hear these kind of results, and it's I get it on the front end. It can be scary, but your experience and so many others, it is a good reminder just how powerful One Click Upsells is.
Yeah, no, it's been incredible for me, and I'm glad you helped me find it, man.
Yeah. Well, in the beginning of our conversation, I want to make sure we call this out, because I do think it's really important. You talked a little bit about what you're doing in terms of donating part of your returns that come in, donating those to people who are in need and less fortunate, and then also donating meals to the homeless. And I think that you give a really good recap of what you're doing. So the question I want to ask you is, like, if there are other businesses who are listening to this, like and they want to do something similar for their community, like how did you get connected with the right people? Are there organizations that people could reach out to locally if they want to, donate meals, or they want to donate products to some type of mission or shelter? Like how could they go about doing that?
Yeah, I just reached out to a few local shelters, and it was surprisingly a little more difficult than I expected. I thought everybody would be jumping at the opportunity, but I think because I was early stage in the business, they didn't realize that I was actually going to be making any money with it. So they didn't realize. I learned later from the rescue mission that I work with now, they get promises like this from people all the time, and then most of them just don't come through with it. So it's hard for them to get excited or get their hopes up about it. But yeah, I mean, all you got to do is just any local rescue mission, just talk to them, tell them what you're doing, and get something set up where, just talking to them, they'll know exactly how to set it up and make it easy for you to get money to them to help them with that. Yeah, I mean, I know I talked a little bit about how living out of our hammocks made me think more about the homeless, but a little before that too, I had read a book. I don't know if you've read it. It's Blake Mykoski's book about Tom's shoes. It's called Stuff Something That Matters.
Okay.
And he just talks about, the importance of and responsibility that we have as businesses to give back and help other people. When you're fortunate enough to be able to start a business and get something rolling that's able to provide a valuable product to people and provide yourself an income, like, you have the opportunity and the responsibility to use some of that income to help the people around you. And that it benefits, in Hobo Hammocks' case, it's benefiting the homeless, but it's also benefiting my company because people are stoked to be able to help out with that.
Totally. Yeah, that makes so much sense. I've heard of that book, and I know the Tom Shoe company and a little bit of the story, but I haven't read it. That's cool that was like a catalyst for you.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I would definitely recommend it.
Awesome, man. Well, Jake, man, if folks want to connect with you after they listen to that first, is that cool? And if so, how do they do that?
Sorry, you're off a little bit there. Could you repeat that one more time?
Yeah. I was saying, if folks want to connect with you after they listen to this, where can they do that?
Oh, sure. You can shoot me an email. Our email address is helpmehang@hobohammocks.com. Or you can find Hobo Hammocks on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, basically any social media. You'll find us on there, and you can reach out and shoot us a message. And even on our website, we have live chat if you want to talk that way. I'd love to talk to you and answer any questions you might have about WooCurve or about Hobo Hammocks.
Awesome. Jake, man, it was great to talk with you. Really appreciate you taking the time. Let me ask you a few questions, and hope you have a good rest of your day, man.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. It's good talking to you, Chris.
All right, you too. Take care.
You too.